Well, guys, it's funny. I wanted to invite you on the show, and the reason I've sort of been pulled back a little bit because I wanted to have a little distance from what's been going on in the group, so that like I could sort of look at it from an external perspective a little bit as a podcaster, I guess, or whatever, videocaster. Is there a new word for it?
Zoomer.
One of the interesting a blogger, right? It's like 2006 again. I love it. I'm a blogger. I'm a vlogger.
A vlogger. That's what I said. Vlogger.
A vlogger. Yeah. It's 2006 for life. For the rest of the time. It's 2006.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all know the show. I think have y'all seen some of the episodes of the show where we talk about what the quick is, which is, the quick is about those sort of moments that cut to the quick. Of connection in our business. There's all these kinds of connections between singers and each other, or a singer and an audience member that they've touched a particular way, or perhaps a singer and someone on the staff, board, or whatever. All these weird sort of sideways connections that you don't really expect sometimes, that are facilitated by this really cool art. And I thought one of the coolest parts about, we're all always on the road, right? And it's terrible. Sometimes we're on the road 11 months a year, and it's really exhausting and tiring. And so guys, I really wanted to have you on the show because, the funny thing about the opera business is that it facilitates all these different kind of connections, whether it be between artists and each other, or artists and an audience member, or board member, or staff, or just a regular person in the Muggle world. We sort of have these weird sort of tentacles into all these other worlds. But one of the kind of interesting parts about being an opera singer, being on the road all the time in this modern era, is that there's all these weird sort of chat groups, these chat threads that evolve when you're working on a project together on with new technology, with WhatsApp or Facebook groups or whatever. And it's, we sort of use these to sort of like, some of these groups kind of hang on for a long time, long after the lights have gone down on the production. And what's really funny about this particular group is that we've been in this for 2 years now, in this just chat group. Yeah.
Year and a half?
A year and a half, almost 2 years. So we hung on to this chat for a long time. And what was really interesting, like that this crisis has really brought us all really close together, because I think a lot of folks in our business were really scared and terrified when this thing first hit, and we didn't have anybody to talk to, and we didn't know what we want to do. And one of the things we did want to do was to get out in public and start setting the world on fire and our hair on fire. So I know that this isn't the only group like this. I see this happening all over the business, where singers went into these private groups and talked to each other, and were able to sort of express themselves freely in a safe place without being judged, and to get support from their singers. And that's kind of what I've seen happen with this group. And I just wanted to have you guys on the show so we could sort of talk about this sort of micro community that has sprung up, and that are springing up all over the country and all over the world. As we see here with our group, it's an international group. So, I'm gonna stop talking for a second, and is there anybody here that would like to talk about what this group has sort of meant to you, and how it's helped you through this crisis, and how you found the support from your colleagues? Something that has been absolutely surprising and invaluable for your handling of this crisis.
Yeah, I would like to. Mike, you are totally right, as those kind of groups really help us to go through some waves that sometimes are really low, and sometimes we are hyperactive, and I don't know why we are somehow having a lot of optimism, and then the next day we're going low. But I really want to point that this group has not been created because of the coronavirus. It has been there a lot longer, and the bonds have been strong for whatever reason it is. And it's, I must say, in my 25 years almost of career, the first time that I got so much relation, a profound relation with all the cast, and the two casts actually, not only the first and the second, being that's really mixed, and that brought us to be even more honest to each other, and be able to say, in this corona, we were able to say our concerns, but it is not the corona that made us together so strongly. And I really do appreciate that, and then that's why it's not superficial. And that's why I think when one says I'm not feeling well, we know that everyone is honestly concerned of the well-being of the group, of the person of the group. So I'm really glad of this possibility because of this, what we are now living. And I wish that one day, we cannot say we come to normality. It will never be as it was before, never. But nevertheless, in the certain kind of reality that we will be, I wish that all of us can again be together for whatever reason, if it's to sing or to put up a new opera house with different rules and different technology and all mixed up together, and be able to continue a kind of artistic life. And I wish that we can be again physically together.
Me too.
So,
you know, isn't it kind of funny that this technology that has really made it so much easier for us being artists in this particular time in American or world history. Look, I'm such an American. I'm always saying American history because I've been talking about American stuff all day. Please forgive me. But you know, at this particular time in history, we have so much technology that allows us to be so much more connected than we were. I mean, Arnold, you're from a different generation, and I know, right? It's crazy. We can tell because the way you use technology. But you know, when you were like 25 or 30, and starting out in your career, you didn't have like cell phones and video chat and none of that stuff.
I remember
how is this experience compared with that experience?
Well, back when I was covering Leah Crocetto, it was it was difficult, you know. The thing that has made it, I remember doing an audition tour in Germany to where I had to budget closely so I could afford to call home and talk to my wife, because it was $2 or $3 a minute. Do you remember that, Lester? Do you remember?
Yeah, there was a company called, I think, MCI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I paid them thousands of dollars.
Yeah. How many phone cards did you guys buy back then?
Well, there was an 800 number that you had to dial into, and then this code you had to put in, and sometimes it was literally $7 an hour. I mean, $7 a minute. It was horrible. Yes, they used to charge these ridiculous prices for international calls. Yeah. That's back when.
So now we're here.
Leonard Warren.
well, the first time I was in Germany, Michael, I remember using someone's phone in their house, and they had a digital little thing that counted how many marks you were using. Marks, not euros. Marks, German marks. You know, and I think I was there. There was a Hitler rally going on the outside, I think. I mean, it was in the 40s.
Get out of here.
All right.
We love him for who he is, don't we?
Seriously, like exactly. You know, but seriously, Arnold, I mean, I know that like I just got a little taste of that when I first started. And it's weird that like now the technology that has allowed us, you know, on the road to connect more with our family has been kind of turned on its head. And now we're using it to connect with each other more and more.
Yeah.
When before we kind of got sick of each other. We're kind of like, I don't want to go home and see my wife. And now I find myself really missing my colleagues in my family, my artistic family. And so like, how is this group sort of like, Adam, I know that you're a younger guy. You're probably the youngest guy in the group, right?
Oh, how old are you, Adam?
I'm in my 30s, mid-30s.
Look, I'm 44, so I'm not going to be
really
about this shit.
You're only 44?
Yeah. I'm 44, yeah. Damn. I know. It's a hard 44, though. A hard 44.
It's a lived-in 44.
This sort of technology and the use of it is much more, you know, for your generation, Adam and Leah, y'all are much more adept and more used to using this. And, you know, has there been some kind of funny moments of watching the old folks try to get confused, like how to use things, or are you the old guy since you're Adam Lau?
I'm the old guy. I'm the one that's Rolodex. So you're talking to the wrong person here.
You have a Rolodex?
Yeah.
I do. You guys.
Oh my God.
Well, is there any particular moment that you guys can think of from our exchanges in the chat that has really stood out as something that you've been able to lean on for support or been able to give someone support?
Do you want
Go ahead,
Don't be
Adam.
bashful.
Okay, well, for me, I never used WhatsApp until this group. I literally downloaded it for you guys because I hate having all these different apps on my phone.
Me too.
But it's like you said, it's the first group that really formed real relationships. I found, at least, instead of these kind of relationships that are snapped up when you go from company to company. Like, these were true ones. And that, like Nora said, every time someone would voice their opinions or how they're feeling, it wasn't just kind of a like, hey guys, how's it going? Okay, bye type of thing. And I think that's what was so special for me, was being able to actually have these genuine conversations with you guys, and you all kept it real. That was the greatest gift I could. I mean, I've reached out to lots of you guys and talked about things before in the past and still do. And they always talk about when we're on the road, we have these families, and this was really one of them.
Yeah.
A true, genuine one, instead of those type of like convenience friendships that we have.
Adam, as somebody who is as somebody who's younger and joining, at the first part of their career, the first 10-year period, has it been really nice to have access to folks that have been in the business for 10, 20 years, 30 years?
Oh my God, it's humbling.
To be able to sort of talk about them. Has it been a good resource for? Has it been a good resource for you? Have you been able to use?
You guys keep it real, and I love it. There's no pussyfooting around, and you just say it how it is, and I think
I know when I was 30, if I could have been in a group with Lester Lynch at 30,
no.
I would have gone crazy, because I know Lester for years and years and years. I always looked up to him. Hey, we didn't even have no young artist programs. We go around and follow people that sang good around and just copy them.
Hey, well, I think Adam hit on it, that this is a safe place for me, because I trust all of you and can really talk about things that are bothering me, instead of having to live the life of a facade, superficial relationships. We have so many superficial relationships in this business. For instance, if Martin Mueller, who I love, he's in this group, is not here today, we sing the same stuff. You wouldn't begin to even mention, oh, by the way, so Munich is considering me for Radames next year. The first thing your colleague would do in a superficial world is get on the phone and try to get that job before.
Elena!
Hey, Elena.
Hello. Hi, guys.
So we're just sort of joining the conversation in process, Elena. So just kind of hang out for a second and we'll bring you in. Arnold, that's a really interesting point. You and I both can be kind of too hot for TV sometimes. And
me? I'm just.
Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? And these places, when you say it's a safe place, it really is, because, the public square can be a landmine for people who live public lives. And these rooms sort of give us a place to actually let our guards down a little bit.
Exactly.
And what's been great about that is that when we were all going through this terrible time, we didn't have to go through that process of breaking each other's walls down and to get to know each other. Yeah. We've been doing that for a year and a half already. And if there's anybody that has a story like that's specific about like this moment that, Leah reached out to me in that group and really set things right for me or whatever, I would love to hear that, because I know they're there. I've watched them scroll by. I don't want to plant any ideas, but and don't be in a hurry and don't feel nervous. Just if you feel like talk.
I immediately have one. When we were in Seattle and we were getting close to opening, I was not feeling well at all. And I texted Lester, and I was like, oh, I feel terrible. I don't know what's going on. And Lester just like dropped his stuff. I think he was working out. And then he was like, all right, let me get you some food. And I was like, what? No, don't worry about it. Like, you just stay. And I didn't have to add anything. He just went to Whole Foods, picked up a bunch of groceries, and was like, okay, where do you live? I'll bring it over. And I was like, so touched by that. What I think I've learned from this type of group is that, especially with singers that are, it's humbling being in this group with all of you, because I see you as role models for me, singers that have really made it and have advanced forward. And what I'm finding is that the ones that have done that there's less BS. There's less insecurity, I guess is what I'm getting at. And so when I talk with each of you, it's not like a kind of guarded, like, oh, how much do I share? Because I don't want you to like advance past me or whatever. It's like, it's the actual person, and we're having actual relationships. And that just, it's blown my mind because I've never really experienced
Well,
that.
you know, here's the story about opera folks. And what I've discovered is that there are, I mean, just like any group, there are stereotypes about
Sure.
the negative things, right? But those things are by and large true to some extent or another. But what I'm seeing more and more is that once you get away from the dehumanizing stereotypes about people, and you start seeing each other as real people. And the best way to see somebody as a real person is to go through a crisis with them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You sort of see how they act, you see how they react. And everybody's got a different way. And what's kind of interesting about this group, I know, is that like everybody has had a different way of coping. Everybody. And everybody's different way of coping has kind of helped out everybody else. Because being able to watch Nora cope with the way things she copes with, or watch Elena cope, or watch Lester cope, has helped me say, well, that's a pretty good mechanism they have there.
Yeah.
That's been really useful, Elena, how you doing?
Thank you, Mike. We are preparing for
oh, that's right.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, so she said overall that she's quite happy that she has this group. It's not only with the coronavirus that we are together bonded, being honest with each other and stay honest, but also with other kind of circumstances as birthdays or and that we are always there and always honest. And for her, it's the first time that she's living that, and she thinks maybe it will be also the last time, because it's really a unique group that we're having here, and she's quite touched about that, of course. Yeah, that's it.
I've been in a lot of WhatsApp groups, a lot, because I feel like every show has one. This is the only one that hasn't been swiped left and deleted.
Leah, why is that? Because I have that too. I'll have some that I don't.
Yeah.
Really, you sort of, after a couple of weeks, and it kind of fades away. And man, this has never done that.
Yeah, I feel like most of them are used for like, can you tell the stage manager I'm going to be 5 minutes late? Or do you guys want to grab a drink whenever? But this has been so much more. It's been a place, I've known Arnold since I was 18, so I think that helps. But because of that, I feel like we've all sort of, I don't know, it was just some magical chemistry about our group in Seattle that we always wanted to hang out. And that has never happened before. Like, I've maybe bonded with a few people here and there, or had, my select friend that I wanted to hang out with that I'd worked with before. But this was unique. We not only chatted all the time, we dined together all the time. We made outings together, tried new things, and got kicked out of Ubers by crazy Uber drivers.
Right.
I mean, I think it's the experiences that we had together in Seattle that makes this group so special too. The chemistry is incredible. And I feel like for me, it's become a place that isn't a part of my everyday life. You know, that I can truly be me and say stupid comments and yell at Arnold for drinking Coke Zero at 2 a.m., you know, and tell you guys my ideas about taking classes in counseling and using my, you know, you guys are my guinea pigs sometimes. So I don't know. It's been super special to me.
It's back to that safety issue. Go ahead, Nora.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come back to what Leah said. I always think, why is this group the only survival of all my groups that I had also in every productions? And a lot of the time comes to my idea that for me, Seattle was the most west that I went. And it's, you know, I mean, from Europe, you go to New York, you're still 6 hours away from Europe, it's okay. But then Seattle, which is so far away from everything. And then we were like Christmas, New Year's Eve all together. And I think from that point, for me, it was, I was at your place, Leah, and Elena was there, first, the three of us, and we had some of a bond. I know that you did sing already together, Elena and we did sing together like 10 years ago. But I think this moment of being so far away from our roots, I mean, the family, the real mother, father, husband, and wife family, and that we were together being, celebrating a really important moment that you celebrate actually with family and not with colleagues. And we did that. And maybe because of that we are not able to delete this WhatsApp group. And I mean, I have a life. I think we did share our emotional life more than only to be colleagues and share a rehearsal there or rehearsal there. And I think that's it. Maybe that's but I'm really happy for that. Yeah.
Me too.
Hey, Michael.
Arnold, what are you thinking, buddy?
I'm thinking the safe place, this group, relationships, networking. Think about it. Michael, we've been friends for a long time. We've worked together. I worked with you when you literally...
Opera Highland Park.
Dragging...
Opera Highland Park.
Michael was so sick and we had no covers. They had to send him on stage as Silvio, dragging an IV on a pole. He sang with a...
Not a pole. Close. Not a pole.
There was not a pole.
There was a pick line that came out of my... There was a pick line that went into my heart. Yeah. Here's a quick story. We were doing Pagliacci at Opera Highland Park in Chicago. And, you know, when Arnold and I first started, we were real big deals and sang at the biggest places. And so, and there was no cover, nothing. And so if one of us cancels, it's just canceled because no one would do it for the money we were doing it. And so it was so I got a staph infection in my foot that almost killed me.
Literally almost killed me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I had to get special dispensation from the insurance company to administer my own pre-experimental antibiotics intravenously so I could still do the performance.
No.
I think we were making $250 a performance or something like that.
You made $250? Wow.
$2.50.
Hazard pay.
No, that's great. Hey, but Michael, that same production is when my Beppe, who's a good friend, Mark Myers? Myers was he had done Pagliacci many times, so he said, "Oh, Arnold, you've got to have the half black hair, half white hair, and the way you get the white is you put baby powder in the wig, just baby powder, baby powder, baby powder." So I baby powdered that wig to a fare thee well, and unbeknownst to the work, of course, you know, we can't do things until the performance because you don't have much rehearsal. So, you know, when I go, no, pagliaccio, non so, and I pull that thing off and throw it down, everyone disappeared in a cloud of dust.
It was like a ninja.
It was horrible.
It was like a ninja.
It's the first time Mark Myers had to leave the stage. He like just left the stage because it is the most dramatic moment for me, Conio, and I am weeping because I have just powdered poor Nedda. She couldn't sing after all that baby powder in her mouth because I hit her with it.
That was Rachel.
Was it Rachel? Yeah.
Oh God, that's a good one.
Oh, I wish it weren't true. I wish I was making it up.
I feel like we had a lot of need for support when we were in Seattle, all of us, for some reason. And maybe it had to do with the fact that it was the holidays. But
Yeah.
Everyone was going through something. Even those that aren't with us today were going through things. And we all had to support each other. I got sick. Lester came to my rescue then.
Again, Dr. Lester,
again,
Dr. Lynch on
Dr.
call.
Lynch. And Angela and John too. We lived in the same building and they helped me out a bunch too. But we all had to be there for each other for certain reasons. And I remember I'd never had a cast throw me a birthday party before. And that's when I met Megan too. Your wife was coming in at the same time. So that was really cool. And I just feel like there was so much love and so much support and honesty right from the beginning. But it has to do with the crises we were all going through. Everybody was going through something. Right from the get-go, we had a cast change right away.
Yeah.
You know, and all that stuff was happening. And we all needed each other. And I know that that's why we are bonded for life because of that.
And I mean, I'll toss this to Lester because I mean, when you think about, you know, you're going through an opera production together. Production is sort of like going into battle. You know, you got to support each other. There's things you got to coordinate on with an attack and whatever. But like, you know, how long have you been singing Verdi, Lester?
20 years, I think.
Do you think there's anything to the fact that when you do sing Verdi, it is a bit like walking a tightrope and it can get really scary, you know? And is there something about the nature of this repertoire that requires that makes you sort of bond with each other like soldiers, you know?
I mean, I've actually found that in the Italian repertoire, the people that sing the Italian repertoire, not to put anyone down, but normally the people that sing the Italian repertoire are the people that don't exactly get along, and that's where you find the real divas. And in the German repertoire, you find these people that are just kind of salt of the earth, simple, like I just, you know, plant my feet, put on some comfortable shoes, and get through this long opera. But obviously, it was exactly the opposite in this situation.
Yeah.
And I think I was thinking that it has something to do with the music itself and also the holidays, like Nora said. But I think it also just, the truth of the matter is it's all of those things. It was like a perfect storm, and maybe storm is the wrong word, but it was a perfect storm of things coming together to create this incredible group that I couldn't be more, I'm so grateful for all of you. And I have loved, you know, the time that was spent, you know, different conversations while we were in Seattle, that we had together. It was incredible, you know, starting a competition with Leah, walking down the street with Nora, talking about photography and the fact that she loves this, you know, and, oh, should I buy this camera, Lester, you know, this kind of thing. And all these wonderful conversations and the eating with Adam, you know, the pho, you know, it's like, that's all these wonderful moments. And even Elena and I running to each other in Vienna. I mean, it's just been the most incredible group. I've known Arnie for years, you know, I mean, just, I don't even know when we met and how far it goes back, but it's been forever and a day. And you and Michael and I did Pagliacci together. Thank God when you didn't have a staff, you weren't dying. And, you know, I think that was like 2008 or 2010 or something like this.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
But this group is, I don't know, you just don't know what it is, but I'm so grateful for all of you. I can truly say that. And I was grateful before the corona. I was already very grateful.
Yeah.
And I still remain absolutely humbled and grateful for each one of you.
Same.
Definitely.
I think the scariest moment for me was when I had to jump on for Angela.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had no qualms about doing that because I trusted all of you guys in the other cast so much. I remember knocking on your door, Mike, and being like, all right, let's talk through our duet. And you're like, why? We don't need to. We're good. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're good. Let's just do it.
It's improv, baby.
It was totally fine.
And it felt and looked awesome because it was extemporaneous, sort of like how the world works.
I mean, yeah, art imitating life. Go figure. No, but that was, just another example of one of us needing each other, and I feel
you really
like
have to trust each other in that situation, don't you?
Totally. Absolutely.
I mean, we've all done that. And it's like, you really don't have any room not to trust people. You don't have a choice. You just got to be like, everybody, please take care of me.
I remember telling Lester Lynch, Lester was my de Luna, and said, Lester, you cannot get sick, because if I go do that fight scene with Michael Mays, he is going to kill me. I did not say that, Lester. I said he's going to kill me, because that fight scene between Martin and Mike Mays was to the death every night.
Yeah.
Of course,
We looked at their fight and went,
clink, clink, run off.
Yeah.
Ours was the opera fight. Clink, sing, sing. Theirs was like, on God.
I really wanted to work a backflip off the wall, but I just they wouldn't go for it.
Talk about ninjas.
Another thing, a first and probably a last for me, because I'm at the twilight of my career, is singing on stage with someone that you've known forever, and her back is to the audience, and I'm singing $1,000,000, and she's going, helping me. And then after we finished, she comes, I'm not saying who it is. She comes to my dressing room. And said, I could use a little more spin in that high C.
Hey, wait a second.
Guys,
Aspetta.
Mike.
So here's the thing. Arnold was and is, I would consider him still, even though we haven't had a lesson in a year and a half. Well, no, you were here last summer, so just like 9 months or something. But Arnold has been my voice teacher since I was 18 years old. So
you have permission. You're allowed.
I'm allowed. And he asked me, how was that? So what, there's no bullshit here.
I mean, seriously, I never ask anybody how I sing.
Well,
God, I don't want them to have to lie to me.
Now, here's the thing you don't realize, part of this networking thing and how we are this big family. Christmas Day, I get a phone call from Leah saying, hey, are you in the States? How are you feeling? You might get a call from Seattle because our tenor is sick. Our tenor is going down, and I have mentioned it would sure be nice if Arnold Rawls came. 2 days later, I'm in Seattle, and that's because of Leah. That's because of the relationship. I still haven't paid you anything, have I, Leah, on that commission?
Man, I do that all the time, though. Isn't it like if someone asks me, like, I never think about the greatest people, the greatest artists in the world. But often those people are the same people in my mind that I'm thinking of. And I love to be able to say, like, oh yeah, this person, they're fantastic. They're great. They're easy to work with. They can adjust on the fly, all that great stuff. Now, anybody in this group, if it comes up, I'm always like one of these guys. Absolutely. Look familiar, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
You're right, Trovatore. Yeah.
Is that our show
poster.
from our show? No.
Oh, good.
Okay, here comes Elena. She's gonna serenade us a little bit, and then we'll get back to some music.
Well, tell us what she does. She does this every night.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. What are you singing, Elena? Do we know? She'll let us. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Should we mute?
Yeah.
It goes like this, the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the perfect cake, the music, hallelujah. 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 You think was true, but you didn't prove. You saw her party on the roof, her beauty, and we put her to her She tied you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throne, she cut your hair, it from your lips and wrapped your hallelujah. I know the saloon, I walked with fool, yes, I knew. I've seen you part of the farmer rush. Love is an old tale, it's so much. It's a colony, it's a broken hallelujah. Ici, je vais vous montrer la lyrique.
Look at that. Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Look at that. Wonderful.
Look at your people.
Oh, I love it.
Bravo, Elena.
See, we got two quicks for one.
Yeah.
We got a connection to the community and a connection to each other all in one show.
Oh, she was like,
It was a Verdian, a true hallelujah of Verdi proportion.
That was a Verdi Requiem hallelujah right there.
Yes.
That was awesome.
It was.
Well, guys, you know, we've talked about this. I wonder if there's anything that you guys think that we've missed or that we'd like to sort of touch on before we sort of wrap up here.
I think we should not lose any hope, because we, as in French, we say until there's hope. I mean, the last thing that dies is hope, and I think we should remind ourselves exactly that. And since that we have all each other, so we can only be stronger to keep this hope alive and just continue our path and be truthful to ourselves and to the group and to all what we want to do, and to know that one day it will come back and we will sort of come back on stage and be doing our passion, which is singing and giving emotions to the public and to each other. So keep it up, guys.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will see you all in the WhatsApp group, and I love you all like family. And I can't wait to hear how you guys are going to turn this terrible crisis into an amazing opportunity. So